We are charting the higher octave with LA-based shoegaze psychedelic rock collective Tombstones in Their Eyes. And with me on the show is one of the founding members, John Treanor. Hi, John.
Uh, Hi, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining me. I'm always excited whenever I see Paul Roessler on the Roessler.
Yeah,
Hey, anyway, so you've been working with him for a very long time. Yeah.
yep,
And
yeah.
of course, he's with 45 Graves, and he's worked with Nina Hagen. And I think he's still with Nina Hagen. I think does he still play shows?
No,
Oh, no.
no. Really, he does his own stuff, and then he does stuff with Gitane Demone from Christian
Oh, yeah,
Death,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
so they got a little thing going, and yeah. So no, he's been around since the beginning of the LA punk scene,
I
basically.
know. Yeah, but I did an interview with him, I think twice.
Uh-huh.
Like more recent and then like way back when. It was like it was a tape interview, the first one.
Yeah,
Cassette tape when I had a previous show. And so yeah, really excited that you've joined him in his Kitten Robot Records.
yeah,
And then you have your latest album that's going to be released. Oh, it's out actually. It's been out.
yeah,
It's been released. Asylum Harbor. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Tombstones in Their Eyes. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Tombstones in Their Eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a name I sort of saddled us with a long time ago when I first started the band. So, when I first started this, it was myself and my friend in New York City. We would trade stuff via Dropbox, and at a certain point, I was like, well, I should name this. And the Tombstones in Their Eyes comes from a Hoyt Axton song, but it's really known as a Steppenwolf song. So the song is called "The Pusher," and it was I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was in Easy Rider, and they made it famous, And the song is about heroin addicts or drug addicts, and that part is about heroin addicts, walking around with tombstones in their eyes. So I
Mhm.
just took it from that. Um, I don't know why.
Okay. Cool. It's a cool name.
Thanks.
So this is could I say this is your fourth album?
Let me see. Oh yeah,
So let's see. Sleep Forever, is that the first one?
yeah. Then we
Okay.
did a bunch of EPs and singles,
Hmm.
and then we did maybe someday, and
And is
then
that the second album?
yeah,
Okay.
maybe someday, and then looking for a light. Um,
And then
there's a
Sea of
lot.
Sorrow.
Sea of Sorrow, and so this really six.
Oh,
This
really?
is the
Okay.
sixth one. Yeah,
So one, two, three. I have five. Is it which one did I miss?
what do you have?
Well, I have Sleep Forever. That was in 2015, and then Maybe Someday, which is 2019. Looking for a Light, 2021, and then Sea of Sorrow, 2023, and then Asylum.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, I thought we missed one in there.
see. That's what I'm trying to figure
Yeah,
out.
let me look real quick
Okay.
because I should know this, but
I know we can't keep up.
come on. Okay, I'm going to check it out right now. Let's
Well, I
see.
know the others are EPs. You release a bunch of EPs, right? And I know
Yeah,
collection album.
yeah, that's I don't really count that because it was a
Yeah.
compilation.
A
So,
higher place.
oh yeah, I kind of think of that as an album. I
A
think that's
higher place.
why.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's an EP, but yeah, somehow I mean it's six songs, really. I mean I could have easily added two more. I don't know why I didn't, but all
Oh,
right.
cool.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I love your album covers, by the way. They're
thank you.
very psychedelic, and I know that the Asylum Harbor is based on a ship. There's a
Yeah.
ship theme here on I think on all of your albums, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. I just came about by accident. When myself and James were starting the project, and I was going to put something out. I don't know, because a lot of the stuff we talked about was related to like mental health and addiction and stuff like that. So, and yeah, so we decided the ship in a stormy sea was a good sort of metaphor, and I've used that on every cover since, except for maybe a couple of digital singles. But I had thought about stopping it, but then my wife said I should keep going. So we'll
Yeah. I
see.
mean, you must love the water.
Not really.
Okay.
No, I was a beach kid growing up, before I got into punk rock, and then it was no longer cool for me to go to the beach. I just, I mean, I was just went into the darkness. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, so I don't mind water. I just don't make time in LA to go to the beach. You know what I mean? Like, but I love the maritime lore and the
Yeah.
images especially.
Yeah. It's like, who's responsible for all the record covers?
Well, I stole the first couple ones from these paintings from the 1800s, and then like I started reaching out to people, so
Uh-huh.
mostly psychedelic poster or album artists, and I would just tell them the only element that has to be in there is ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, let them go to town.
So how did you start out in music? I know being in the punk scene, I guess way back when.
It's a good story. I mean, I'd like to talk about it at least. So I don't know if it's a good story,
I'm not.
but
Sorry.
yeah. So I grew up. So I was born in Los Angeles, but ended up moving around a little bit when my parents got divorced, and we ended up in San Diego from like grade 4 through grade 12, and that's where I started. I was like a beach kid, skateboarder.
Hmm.
So, and then around 14 or 15, I got into punk rock by like discovering the Germs record and Devo's second record. And, you know what I mean? Like, those are the two ones I remember the most, and because those were, yeah. So I just dove head first and, started going to shows eventually. And yeah, it was great. I was super into the Cramps as well. And
Hmm. Yeah, the LA scene. So you were in
no,
LA.
I was in San
Diego.
Diego for a lot of this. And then I moved back to LA. So I'll tell you, in San Diego at that time, which was like 19, let's see, 80 to 83, um, there was a lot of scenes. There was a goth scene, there was a
Yeah,
punk
yeah.
scene, there
Hmm.
was a mod scene, like mods, right, in San Diego.
No, I
And
totally believe it. Yeah, LA
there
was
was,
pretty big with the
yeah,
glass.
yeah. So I hung around with all of them a bit, but I was, consider myself a punk rocker because I thought my brother was a mod, and I thought they were too wimpy to like look as trashed as we did. But anyways, I appreciate the look now. But so when I moved back to LA at 18, started going to shows up here and hanging out, and by that time, punk rock in LA had become gang violence.
Hmm.
I had a lot of the big shows, and you know, there were punk gangs, and it was stupid. It was like when all the jocks got into it. So I mean, maybe not, but that's kind of how I see it, right? The guys that used to scream out their car door faggot or Devo at you were now into
Yeah.
punk rock, right? So because
The rebel.
yeah, originally it was sort of a lot of outcasts and freaks and stuff, and so anyways, so up here I started veering away from punk rock, as a lot of the city was, a lot of the bands that started in the punk scene, or people that started in the punk scene, were just going in different directions, so I started getting into stuff like whatever, the Butthole Surfers, and all kinds of shit, and because I didn't stop at punk rock, and this is my beef with some people. They stopped. Punk rock opened my mind
Mm.
to all kinds of, mostly rock music. I admit I'm narrow in that focus, but so anyways, that's kind of the story. And then I went to college for a few years, and my friend was in a band. They were decently well known, and he asked me to go on tour with them. So I dropped out of college, went on tour with them as a road manager for a few tours, and
Which band?
the band was called the Leaving Trains.
Uh-huh.
They were on SST Records. This is pre Nirvana. And so, like when we went to Europe in 1988, American alternative or indie bands were really popular. So we'd go from playing 100 or 200, capacity places in the US to like 1,000 over there. It was
Oh,
really
wow.
cool. Yeah, it was really cool. So, but anyways, I came back and eventually settled down, and that's when I really started getting into my own music. And that's when I started creating. So I did that for a long time, and then it wasn't until this band where I actually felt like the songs I was writing were good. I liked them myself,
Wh-
right?
So, what do you think what's inspiring you to write the music that you're writing now, which
Well,
which is around started in the 2015, right around that period when the first album came out.
yeah. So that's probably started in 20, maybe 14 or so, and I was communicating with my friend, and this is my friend I've known since 13 years old. He was actually one of the kids I started at the little punk rock band in San Diego way back when. So we hadn't seen each other for a long time. We hooked up, and it was like instant friendship. And we started doing this. And he was very good at pushing me to get better. You know what I mean? Because I've been writing songs for a long time, and I think it was his influence. And he would put drum beats, and he would sometimes cut them up and or suggest things. And so yeah, I started to feel more confident, and then the subject matter originally, like I said, was kind of, I was going through some mental health stuff during those years, and I have for a bit off and on throughout the years, and so my subject matter is mostly my subconscious, or like feelings, like, and that comes up through the way I write lyrics.
Yeah.
You want
Uh,
me to go on, or you have a question?
no, no, I'm
Okay.
really interested. Yeah, the subconscious
Okay.
part. Yeah.
Yes. So the way I write, sorry, is I write down, I do most of my demos in this room. And so I write a guitar rhythm part and maybe some other parts if I feel like there's something that's is coming up. But otherwise, I just turn on the microphone and play the song, and I sing whatever comes out. And it's
Oh, so it's kind of like free thought, kind of
yeah,
just
it's
what
a
comes in.
yeah, stream of consciousness.
Oh, cool.
Sometimes, I mean, usually I'll edit it a little bit, but there have been times where I haven't edited it at all, and some of it that may not make sense, but most of it does, and it's cool because it's weird that this stuff's coming out of you, you
So
know.
how do you prepare for that? Is it something that you just feel like doing one day and you said, I got to record something because something I feel I'm getting inspired to write at the moment?
Um, this way just started during this project. I have no idea. I think it was just the ability to do more stuff on your own and not have somebody looking at you,
Hmm.
So I just developed into this way of doing it, which is cool.
So that started in 2014 and the first album came out, and then it
Uh,
continued on to.
yeah, well, through 2014, we wrote the songs that are on their first album. Then in 2015, we recorded it. So,
So it's
yeah,
like stream of consciousness. That's really interesting.
yeah. I mean, I would say 80%, 75. You know,
Oh.
yeah, because once you have the basis of the song, you can mess around with some of it, right? So,
So is there a particular theme for each of these albums?
well, um, I never think about a theme. I just write songs, and I have a lot of songs, and I just pick the ones that I like the best.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I mean I can see the I guess the symbolism behind like some of these titles.
Oh yeah, no,
Like,
definitely. Like Sea of Sorrow was, I was going through some shit. You
okay.
know what I mean, right? Even though there's a few, I mean, there's some really good songs on that. You know, I was going through stuff, and actually for this record, I was probably in the worst shape I've ever been.
Oh,
Like
really?
it's,
The Asylum Harbor.
yeah, I
And
mean,
this
but
is
it's
this was like kind of like right in the middle of the pandemic. From what
Yeah, yeah, I wrote that after all this shit happened in my life, and it doesn't sound like I'm whining, I don't think, and actually it's a lot of the songs are very hopeful. They don't reflect like how I actually felt all the way. Like
is
I
it
want to
from the pandemic?
no, from
Oh,
the other
okay.
things in my life. Yeah.
Okay. So that probably just added the pandemic added on top of that, it probably added a lot of other things, right? Because that affected
Well,
everybody, I'm sure. They just
isolation,
yeah, isolation, right?
that was the big one.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people wrote music or made music during this time because they had nothing better to do.
Yeah, I wrote a
They
lot.
they were at home and it kind of brought out a lot of creativity.
Yeah, I agree.
So this particular album, which is called Asylum Harbor. So how did you meet Paul Roessler?
Okay, when we did our first record, I didn't have a band, so I picked a couple friends, and then I had to find a studio. So there was a studio in my neighborhood. I talked to them, and then they ended up having another studio out in the valley. So we went out there and did the record, and it was only like a one main session of a day, and then two or three mini sessions where I'd go in and do some overdubs or whatever, and then but then I wasn't really confident in the person I was working with to mix it or anything like that because there's not a lot of communication. And so that's when I went and found Paul. Someone had just mentioned him, and I knew him.
Oh.
I mean, I knew of him because I used to date a woman that was in one of his early bands called Twisted Roots, and
Mm.
so and some had mentioned him. So I went and we hit it off, and he's been sort of part of us ever since.
Yeah. His label is Kitten Robot Records. I know he's had that for a while. The last time we spoke, we kind of talked about that a little bit. So
Yeah.
he's been doing this for a long time, and I know some of your albums were produced by him, right?
Oh, all of them.
Oh, all of them. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And the thing about Kitten Robot, it's not, he doesn't own it. Kitten Robot Studio is where he works out of, right? And that's owned by Josie Cotton. Do you remember that name?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
She had a hit back in the 80s, Johnny, Are You Queer? That was her big thing back then. And she's still making music. So she has her own studio.
Uh-huh.
And she decided to start Kitten Robot Records along with somebody else. And Paul tried to get some of his bands that he records on there. So that's how we ended up there.
Wow. So you do all the songwriting for the album, right? For the song,
Yeah,
the lyrics
yeah.
of the songs, and then you just pick which one comes out. So which can you tell us a little bit about all the members of the band and how you collaborate all together? I mean, you got five.
Uh, I know. Actually, there's six now. And okay, so I have a drummer who's been with us for 7 or 8 years. He's called Steven Striegel, named Steven Striegel. He's great. So he writes his own parts, but I'm always there when he records them. So
Mm,
we tweak it as needed, and the bass player Joel Wasco is new. He hasn't recorded with us yet, but he will also be writing his own bass parts to the new songs. And eventually I hope to write actual songs with him. I just got to figure out how to do that because I've gotten so accustomed to doing it my way.
oh
And
yeah.
but then we have a guitar player named Phil Cobb. He's mostly a lead guitar player. I don't think he's really interested in writing songs, but what I do is I bring him over and we record leads for songs, because he's really good at that and he's really good at some cool rhythm additions. But who am I? Okay, Paul Booten, another Paul Booten I met through Paul Roessler. He used to hang out at Kitten Robot Studios and we met, and when I needed a guitar player at some point, he joined, and he's a great guy. He's yeah, he's just a super nice and solid. So yeah, and I've tried to write. I have written some. He's contributed some parts to songs, but he lives very far away right now, so it's tough to figure out how to do songwriting together. And then who am I missing? Courtney Davies is one of the singers. She's been a friend for a long time. She went through some stuff, and I asked her to join because I thought might be good for her and it would be good for me.
Hmm.
And it's worked out pretty well. She's got a wonderful voice, and then I recently added Clee Cullen. She also has a wonderful voice, and she'll be going to the studio soon. Both of those guys too.
Okay, so are they already part of the of this last album?
No,
Oh, okay.
so mainly on the last album, it was me on most of the guitars, with Phil and Paul Bowden adding a bit, Steven on drums, and Joel on bass, and then Paul Roessler on any keyboards that you hear, and
Oh, that's
that's pretty
Paul.
much it. Oh, then Courtney for background vocals, and
Oh,
me,
okay.
Paul, and Courtney for background vocals.
So are the female vocalists gonna be doing a lead in vocals in the next album or so, or?
I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so we've already dropped Courtney into one like ending where she just takes the lead. So
Mhm.
we're trying to do stuff like that right now, but I would also like to write some stuff specifically for them. You
Oh,
know,
do you have any plans for the next album already?
well, it's almost done.
Oh, for the next album. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So we're trying to hurry up on it, and like the meat and potatoes is done, but we have to do drums and bass, and then do the girls singing, and some
oh, okay.
overdubs for
Do you,
guitars.
do you have a title for the new album? The next album?
No, it's a
Not
good.
yet. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I haven't
Well,
come
I don't
up
want
with
to spoil it.
yeah,
Everybody, keep everybody in suspense a little bit. So, but Asylum Harbor was just released, right, in November.
yeah, but it'd been done for like a year.
Oh, okay. So this one, when are you anticipating the release for the newest album?
It depends on the schedule of the label,
Okay.
and hopefully, sometime in 2025. I hope, So yeah, and we're preparing for live shows right now. We haven't played out for a
Oh,
while.
cool. Well, I mean, where are you gonna do your live shows? It's just in the North America area in LA?
Well, yeah, we're starting in LA just to get warmed up and learn how to be a band together, because it's new people and we haven't played in a while, and
Sure. Yeah.
I want to be better than I felt we were before, and a lot of that's on me, So I've gotten my live singing to go better and things like that, and so yeah, so we're gonna start at some small places around town just to as sort of warm up practice shows.
I know this album also like was kind of like a healing part of the, I guess for every, it's a healing album, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, like I said, that's what I think of it more as. I think of like Sea of Sorrow is the real kind of bummer record, and then like I don't consider it a bummer, but you know what I mean, sort of a down record, and then like Asylum Harbor feels like clean and nice, and you know what I mean, like coming out of the storm kind of to me.
Yeah, I like that description, coming out of the storm, or kind of like coming out of the storm from on your boat, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
before you uh especially after the, how you kind of leave to get out there when there's a storm, right? Doesn't the boat go out when there's a storm? Rather than if you stay in the dock, then the boat gets
oh yeah, that's
either, right?
true. But
Yeah.
Asylum Harbor is the term for, like a bay where you could go wait out a storm,
Oh, okay.
right? So, it's coming in from a storm, or a
Oh, I
shelter.
see. Okay, so it just came out of the storm.
It's providing shelter from
Oh,
from a storm. Yeah,
oh, I like
yeah,
that one. I can see the imagery there.
yeah, yeah. It's cool.
And I know your genre is, it says shoegaze and psychedelic rock, which is, do you feel a connection to those two genres, particularly?
I I can see where they come from. I don't feel it's connected to the shoegaze thing, because a lot of those bands, I mean, there's some good ones doing interesting things, but what I hear a lot is bands sort of mimicking old shoegaze bands, and I'm not into that. And so I don't find the quality of like new shoegaze to be in my area, right?
Uh-huh.
Or to my liking. So, and I'll, it's so wimpy. I like, like more fuzz and, so there's some cool bands that are considered sort of shoegaze, like Nothing, and, some other bands I can't think of right now. But yeah, so then the psychedelic, also that's a really broad area. But
Yeah.
I definitely consider that more so. It's really I consider psych rock, because psych rock is like a newer thing, right? Even though it's short for psychedelic rock, it's come to represent like the new era of like more aggressive, more noisy, like psychedelia, right?
I could totally see you're saying the genre of music you would probably connect with the most is psych rock.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I could see
yeah,
it. That totally makes
yeah.
sense.
But then there's rock and roll by itself. There's even goth. There's darkness, right? A lot of it's
Yeah.
about darkness, and then yeah. So it's really the history of my music tastes gets all funneled into whatever I'm making.
Yeah. And how did you meet Shauna from Shameless Promotion PR?
Oh, okay. So when I first started the band, I thought, I was trying to do it all myself and nothing much was happening. So I thought I should get a publicist. And there's a lot of publicists out there that prey on young bands, who don't know what they're doing, and really don't provide them anything and just take their money. So I don't know if I came across some of those, but then I heard something good about Shauna. I don't know where I heard her name. Maybe it's somebody she was promoting, that I liked. Probably that, yeah, that was, and so I went and started working with her, and really we've been working together since, I don't know, I'd call that maybe 2018 or something. And then there was a break.
Oh,
There was a break because Kitten Robot had their own publicist, so I could save the money. But on this record, they were starting to promote it, and I just decided one day I can't do this anymore. I got to get Shauna back.
yeah.
So like that's what I did.
Well, you're in good hands now.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I love the title of your project, your collective, Tombstones in Their Eyes, which is
right.
sounds like it's just has a dark side to it, but then it has this kind of spiritual nature, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. It's just a lot to say, but there's a lot of bands that have long names, So but whenever you tell people what the name is, they don't get the reference, which not that many people do, but a lot of real music nerds
I mean,
do.
when you Google this, I mean, your name
Yeah,
pops up. I mean, it's not something that people don't really talk about. You can't find really anything on it except I think you guys. I tried
and
it.
you might find a reference to the song, "The Pusher."
Oh, maybe yeah.
Yeah, you
Probably
know,
probably that's it though.
yeah, yeah. So, yep. So it's cool. That's what it is. It's gonna stay
Yeah.
that way.
Well, I'm always excited to hear, to learn something new, and I'm so glad that you're working with Paul, and I hope to talk to him one of these days, about his latest projects and stuff like that.
Yeah, you would be interested in. He did a
Yeah.
project with Gitane Demone called "The New Young Kings of Midnight," which is, I think, that particular song is about Darby Crash, but it's done in a real like
Ah.
gothy kind of classical way, and it's pretty cool. Look at the video, actually.
Yeah, no, I see I see all the bands that's on the label,
No, but look up the video. Let me send you a link before we get off. Okay, you will love it. Okay, so hold on. It's intense. Sorry, one sec. YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Asylum Harbor cover, the record cover is
Yeah,
is very psychedelic,
yeah. So what I do is I find these guys, like I said, from like Instagram or whatever, and yeah, this guy was really good. He's from South Africa. He does a lot of posters, mainly this guy. And so let's see. Let me just see if they have the video here. Yeah, okay. I'm sending you this. Okay. Yep. So is one of the things I like the best that he's done recently. Here we go. It's in the chat.
Oh, okay, okay. You're sending the chat. Okay, well, I'll go. I'll watch it.
Do you'll like it, and then you can talk to him about it later. I'll tell him I'm in the studio next weekend, so I'll tell him I talked to you.
Yeah, tell him, give him my best regards, and I hope to maybe have a maybe talk to him about his latest stuff. Haven't
Yeah,
spoken to him in a while. I don't even
yeah.
did I think the last time we spoke it wasn't on my YouTube channels. I didn't have my YouTube channel that time, but I think it was just a record audio interview.
Okay.
It'd be good to chat with him, but it's good to chat with you and get to know you and your
Thank you.
music and your collective. Tombstones in Their Eyes. So your latest album coming out, Asylum Harbor, is out now. Asylum Harbor out now,
Yep.
and we look forward to the next one
Yeah. It was
comes
very
out.
nice talking to you. You're
All
very
right,
sweet and easy to chat with.
all right. Thank you,
Thank
John.
you.
Nice to
Yep.
talk to you. Okay,
Okay.